Thinking of moving to Delaware and you want to know the truth about Delaware? Well, just call me Evander, because in this video, I'm going to be giving you the real deal Holyfield. In this video, I'm going to tell you what other agents won't tell you about living here in Delaware. And some of them may just surprise you, so you're definitely going to want to stick around until the end. But after watching, you'll know the truth about living here in Delaware. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Windom, and I help people buy and sell homes here in Delaware. I've lived here my entire life, and on this channel, I talk about what it's like living here in Delaware. And if you're thinking about buying or selling here in Delaware, I'd love to have a conversation to see how I can potentially help you. So I'll put my info here on screen right now, and again in the description below. Now, I know some people don't trust real estate agents. Actually, in fact, it's a lot of people. A recent study showed that real estate professionals are among the 5 least most trusted professionals. So I'm here to change all that. In this video, I'm going to try to put the real back into realtor and tell you exactly what other agents won't tell you about living here in Delaware. Now, the first thing is that buying isn't for everyone. Now, I don't say this to be mean, but it's just the truth. It's just like the saying goes, if it was easy, everyone would do it. And we know that's not the case when it comes to buying real estate. Let's be honest, buying a home is hard, financially, mentally, emotionally. I mean, I'd be stressed out and I'm not even the one buying the home. It's literally probably the most money you'll ever spend, probably in your entire life. And that being said, you have to be ready with everything that goes along with it. Yeah, while you're out there searching for a home, your offer may get beat, or you may lose a home that you really wanted, but you got to keep pushing. Maybe the lender will require some obscure document that makes absolutely no sense, and that is a pain to get, but you're going to have to get it, or no home for you. Trust me. I know when I was buying my home, all I did was complain about all the stuff what the lender was asking me for. Quick story. So when buying my home, I remember them asking me why my rent was so cheap. They needed an explanation. And it was because I had roommates, AKA my parents. But who cares? Why does that even matter? Or perhaps maybe after you buy your house, something breaks, the HVAC goes out. You're gonna have to fix that. And these are all things you need to keep in mind when buying a home. So you really need to ask yourself, are you really ready to buy a home? Because some people aren't, and that's okay. Now, the next one is renting in Delaware is tough. Not necessarily. Now, let me explain. While I do think that you should buy a home if you have the means to do so, I'm not one of them agents that are just like, everyone should buy, renting is stupid. I'm not against renting at all. In fact, I think if you don't plan on staying in the house you're buying for at least 5 years, or you're not open to the idea of being a landlord, or maybe you're just not financially ready, you shouldn't buy a house. You probably should rent. But I'm getting off topic. Back to what I was talking about. The reason why I say it's tough to rent here in Delaware is actually 2 reasons. The first one is that we don't have a ton of huge apartment complexes everywhere or a ton of multifamily properties. And number 2 is during the pandemic, Delaware made it extremely hard to evict tenants that were just blatantly abusing the system. And that kind of put a bad taste in a lot of homeowners' mouths. So it made private landlords and homeowners a lot more hesitant to actually rent their properties out, and they're just deciding to sell them all now. And another byproduct of the pandemic is because it was so hard to evict, the rental requirements now to rent are just ridiculous. I mean, they're saying that you need a 620 credit score. You're gonna need to make 3 times the rent. You're gonna need first month, last month, security deposit, and the rights to name your firstborn. I mean, it's just crazy nowadays. The next one is Delaware homes aren't dirt cheap. I cannot tell you how many times I get calls from people reaching out saying, hey, I'm looking to buy here in Delaware because where I'm at currently is just way too expensive, and I heard houses are a lot cheaper there in Delaware. So then we'll get to talking and I'll ask something along the lines of, what type of house are you looking for? And did you have a specific budget in mind? And sometimes these answers are, well, I guess the best way to put it is kind of far-fetched. Now, I'm not sure what people have heard about Delaware or what people think Delaware is. Now, don't get me wrong, we're a lot cheaper than our neighboring states like New York, New Jersey, or DC. But I hate to burst your bubble, Delaware is not like rural Kansas out in the middle of nowhere. You just simply are not going to find a 4-bed, 2.5 bath rancher with a finished basement for $200,000. And if you do, I will take 5 of them immediately, please and thank you. Those days of buying 2,300 square foot homes on a half an acre for, $220,000, $250,000, that ship has long sailed. That thing sailed back in 2012 sometime. And just to give you an idea of what homes cost, as of right now, the median sold price in all of Delaware is $335,000. And honestly, that may only get you an entry-level townhouse in most parts of Delaware. So the next reason is locals only. Now, this one is a bit weird. Now, I think Delaware overall is very friendly and very diverse, especially compared to some of our other neighboring states. New York. What? I didn't say anything. But there's this weird bias, or honestly, I don't really know what to call it. But some lifelong Delawareans or people who have lived in Delaware for quite some time just don't like people from out of state. Now, I'm not one of the lifelong Delawareans that feel that way, obviously, but some do. And if you don't believe me, just take a look at some of the other videos on my channel and you'll see the comments. I'll put a few up on screen now. Don't move to Delaware, we're full, just stuff like that. It's crazy. And usually the reasoning I hear or see behind this type of thinking is just that they think that all the people from out of town are making everything more expensive, such as, home prices, goods and services, taxes, everything. It's just the out-of-towners' fault. I mean, while I agree everything is getting more expensive, I don't think it's the people moving from out of town's fault. It's just because the secret about Delaware is out. It's getting way more exposure than it ever has before, and people are deciding to move here. Now, while I don't think this will impact anyone's day-to-day life, if you are driving and you have an out-of-state license plate on the car, you may get some dirty looks. And I'm actually curious, let me know in the comments below, is this just like a Delaware thing, or are there people in other states that don't like people who relocated from other states? Let me know below. The next one is, Delaware is greedy. Well, at least it can be. I know a lot of people know about Delaware's no sales tax, favorable tax laws, low property tax, stuff like that. But let me be the first to tell you, ain't no such thing as a free lunch. Delaware is definitely gonna get its money. They just like to nickel and dime you to death so that it just doesn't feel like an outright robbery like it does in some of the other states. Some examples I can think of off the top of my head will probably be our huge transfer tax, which is 4%. Another one that I can think of that a lot of people get sticker shock with is if you're registering a vehicle from out of state. I think it's like 4% of sale price or blue book value, whichever is greater. And I could probably keep going on and on. What's that? You need to change a toilet in your house? You're gonna need a permit. That's gonna be 50 bucks. What's that? You ran a red light? That's gonna be 100 bucks. What's that, Delaware? You're doing a tax reassessment in all of Delaware, meaning that my property taxes may go up? Sure, why not? So while we do have some favorable taxes and savings here, don't get it twisted. Delaware is definitely going to get their money one way or another. How do you think we keep the roads so nice here? If I haven't scared you away and you want to know more about Delaware, good news, I actually made another video discussing Delaware right here.